Hi, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Clancy Tripp, and I'm a senior here at CMC. When I first came to CMC, I was declared as a journalism major. This was partially because I did not know that journalism as a major did not exist at the 5 Cs. And by the time I figured it out, my parents had already paid the first semester's tuition. So naturally, I became a literature major. I wrote for the CMC Forum for a couple of years until, depending on who you ask, I either quit or was fired. It wasn't long until I had started my own 5C publication, a satirical online magazine called The Golden Antlers. The Golden Antlers was born in October, and by the beginning of that following year, we had a pretty decent place on campus. We had a voice, and we had a dedicated and excited staff. In March 2013, 6 months later, ASCMC student body president Aditya Pai released a message to the student body addressed to Deans Huang and Spellman entitled CMC's Social Scene, Recommendations on Behalf of the Student Body. Pai's memo and accompanying petition spoke to the feeling on campus that there was a growing divide between what the students wanted and what the Dean of Students' office would allow. There was a difference for us between what they would allow and what we could do. So Pai wrote this petition to stand up for the students on campus. Meanwhile, over at the Golden Antlers, we were just excited to have something to talk about. Thus was born the great shutdown prank of 2013. Drawing on palpable animosity towards the Dean of Students' office and drawing directly from Pai's resolutions, we published an article claiming that the Dean of Students' office had shut us down. We capitalized on a general sentiment that we were losing what makes CMC CMC in order to mimic Pai and ask for student support. At the same time, we were worried that it was too obviously a joke. Our article included phrases like, "The following is Dean Huang's official statement. This administration has labeled Clancy Tripp a rogue threat to the well-being of Claremont McKenna College, whose insolent rantings have wreaked havoc upon the student body. Rioting, egregious sexism, crude punnery, defecation in Seal Pond, and a general disrespect for academic integrity have followed Miss Tripp wherever she goes, and this administration is determined to shut her down." I honestly thought no one would take us seriously. I thought we hadn't gone far enough. Within 3 hours, there was enough uproar that I was forced to shut down the prank entirely. I received a flurry of emails from friends and strangers alike offering to lend me their personal lawyers, to call the ACLU on my behalf, begging me to tell them that it wasn't true. Our online petition had over 100 signatures in under an hour. When I heard rumblings that students were organizing to march on the Dean of Students' office, who, by the way, had done absolutely nothing to censor us, I published an article explaining that the whole thing was a prank. Of course, there was fallout. Students were justifiably angry. Many of them had made passionate pleas on our account, all focusing on the notion that this was the nail in the coffin of DOS's relationship with students. The CMC Forum published an article entitled, "Did the Golden Antlers Go Too Far?" which, of course, provoked a response from us called, "Did the Forum article about the Golden Antlers going too far go too far?" I apologized to everyone and thanked them for their help, but I couldn't help but wonder if maybe we had gone too far. Without my realizing it, we had gone from David harmlessly throwing pebbles at the Dean of Students' office to Goliath, an actual force on campus capable of hurting people. We had become an organization capable of affecting the way people felt about an issue. We were leading the conversation. Before my foray into the world of satire and humor, I used to think that laughter was just a good way to blow off steam. In fact, there are many theories as to why we laugh. One of the oldest of these is the superiority theory, or as I like to call it, the middle school girl theory, which posits that we laugh at the misfortune of others because it proves we're better than them. but that doesn't bring out the best in us. It doesn't allow us the opportunity to use satire to empower and critique, so I prefer a different, newer theory. The authors of Inside Jokes, using humor to re-navigate the mind, explain that humor is important because it gives us the opportunity and shows our ability to detect flaws in reasoning and solve mental puzzles. Essentially, humor grants us the ability to look at the world around us and see what needs changing. When used responsibly, satire can be a powerful tool for social change, but when used incorrectly, it can be cruel. So, as an editor foraging my own path, I had to learn where to draw the line. There are entire courses on journalistic integrity and ethics, but with satire, we were playing a whole different ballgame. So we had to look to the greats. In my case, that is, of course, the satirical news publication, The Onion. After September 11th, 2001, The Onion didn't publish a single article for over a week. When they finally broke their silence, it was with an article entitled, "God Angrily Clarifies Don't Kill Rule." In the article, God gives a passionate and frustrated speech about the failings of humanity, with phrases like, "Humans don't need God or religion as an excuse to kill each other. You've been doing that without any help from me since you were freaking apes," said God. But it's actually the ending to this piece that I think is one of the most profound responses to the tragedy I've ever encountered. The article concludes, "When God had completed his outburst, he fell silent, standing quietly at the podium for several minutes. Then, witnesses reported God's shoulders began to shake, and he wept." The difference between satire and cruelty is humanity. It's learning to draw the line between using humor to correct a social ill and using it to hurt the people you're trying to lead. The Onion responded to a tragedy with the perfect mix of humor and respect. And that's the example I look to when I'm forced to make a difficult choice. Does it help more than it hurts? Is it driven by the desire for positive change? Is it human? I'm still faced with these difficult decisions, and it's not easy. As an active member of the CMC social scene, there are times when I want to rebel against the revised alcohol policies and use the Golden Antlers as my mouthpiece to voice my frustration with the Dean of Students' office. On the other hand, as the founder of CMC Advocates for Survivors of Sexual Assault, and as a survivor myself, I know that these restrictions are only put in place to keep us safe. It's a difficult line to tread, and I'm still learning. But there are times when the Golden Antlers has been successful. We have broken news. We have held campus groups to higher standards of integrity, and sometimes we've used humor to stand up for the things we believe in. The term bread in circuses was originally coined by Roman satirist Juvenal, who used the term to describe the ways in which Roman politicians were using superficial means of entertainment to gain political power. I like to think that's what the Golden Antlers did. And now that we've brought them here with our bread and our circuses and our lowbrow jokes, it's our responsibility to listen to our audience, to respect them, and to try to stand up for them. So here I am, 3 years later, on the other side of things, in my third year as editor-in-chief of the Golden Antlers and in my final year at CMC. So far this year, we've had over 34 applications to join the staff of the Golden Antlers, and counting. When the emails first started pouring in with addresses like, "To whom it may concern," and "Dear Madam," or more often, "Dear Sir," I was reminded of how far our influence has spread. The Golden Antlers has been one of the best parts of my time here at CMC. With the help of a fantastic staff, we have grown from a personal blog to a full-fledged campus news source with articles capable of garnering as many as 16,000 views in one night. We have shown CMC that being a leader and having a sense of humor, don't have to be mutually exclusive. We're here asking you to look at your world more critically and to identify the things that need changing. We're still learning the ins and outs of effective communication, and we may not always succeed. But hey, here's hoping we at least get a laugh out of it. Thank you.